Hello, Aparajitan. How are you?
Hi, எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
நான் நல்லா இருக்கேம்மா. यस्या भवद्भक्तजनार्तिहन्तुः कृतित्वमन्वेष्वविचार्यतूर्णं स्तम्भेऽवतारस्तमनं गलभ्यं लक्ष्मीनृसिंहं शरणं प्रपद्ये अहोबिले गारुडशैलमध्ये कृपावशात् कल्पितसन्निधानं लक्ष्म्या समालङ्कितवामभागं लक्ष्मीनृसिंहं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरङ्गेशे यतीन्दुना करुणया असोस्यादिति प्रेक्षितं ख्यातश्रीनृसिंहहारिजमुनीक पादाम्बुजेन्दिन्दिरं दान्तिक्षान्तिदयाधिविश्वगुणैः भान्दं बुधाग्रेसरं श्रीमद्रङ्गशटार्योगिरपतिं शयोनिधिं संश्रये श्रीमत्श्रीरङ्गपृथ्वीश्वरषटरिपुणा संयमीन्द्रेण दृष्टं हस्तात्मानं नृसिंहे हरहरिषडजिद्योगिने तु प्रसादात् प्राज्ञं श्रीरङ्गहारिप्रभवयधिपतेः प्राप्तलक्ष्मीनृसिंहास्थानं सेवे यतीन्द्रं सकलगुणनिधिं वीररघ्वेक्षतारिं श्रीरङ्गनाथषडगोपयतीन्द्रदृष्टं लक्ष्मीनृसिंहषडजित्करुणैकपात्रं श्रीरङ्गवीररघुराक्षरगोपकृत्यं वेदान्तदेशिकयतीन्द्रमहं प्रपद्ये श्रीमत्तङ्गषडादिसंयमिवरा लब्धागमान्तद्वयं श्रीमद्वीररहूत्वहात्षडजित् पादारविन्दाश्रयं श्रीमद्वेदवतं सदेशिकयतेः कारुण्यवीक्षास्पदं सेवे रङ्गधुरेण शासनवशं नारायणं योगिनं वेदान्तदेशिकयतीन्द्रकटाक्षलब्ध रय्यन्तसारमनवद्यगुणं बुधाग्र्यं नारायणात्ययतितुर्यकृपाभिषिक्तं श्रीरङ्गनाथयतिशेखरमाश्रयामः श्रीमते श्रीलक्ष्मीनृसिंहदिव्यपादुका सेवक शिवञ्जरगोपश्री श्रीरङ्गषडगोपयतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते शिवञ्जरगोपश्री वीरराघवषडगोपयतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते शिवञ्जरगोपश्री वेदान्तदेशिकयतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते श्रीलक्ष्मीनृसिंहदिव्यपादुका सेवक शिवञ्जरगोपश्री नारायणयतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते शिवञ्जरगोपश्री रङ्गनाथयतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः। नमः पन्नगनद्धाय वैकुण्ठवशवर्तिने श्रुतिसिन्धुसुधोत्पाद मन्दराय गरुत्मते गरुडाय नमस्तुभ्यं सर्वसर्पेन्द्रमृत्यवे वाहनाय महाविष्णु तार्क्ष्याय अमिततेजसे नमो नमस्ते पक्षीन्द्रस्वाध्याय वपुषे नमः। दोलायमानं गोविन्दं मञ्चस्थं मधुसूदनं ततस्य केशवं दृष्ट्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. So by now, children, you might all know what we are going to talk about. So today is nothing but the Garuda Vaibhavam. We are going to have the second part, and we are going to explore all the stories as a part of Garuda Vaibhavam that we covered in our previous session. So I know Lakshmi Narasimhan Aparajitan is already getting his reams ready, and also Shriman, both of you are getting ready, and all the other kids as well. So now I'll be starting off, like every time, we'll be starting off with a few questions that we pep up the session with, and this is based off of what we discussed in our previous class, and just some fun questions, like 5 or 6 questions, and then we'll jump right into the topic. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask is, what are the 5 different names of Garutman that correlate to the Paravyuha, Vibhava, Archa, and Antaryami names? Can anybody say 5 different names of Garutman? Do you know, Suparna? Okay, Suparna is one. Can you try, Aparajitan? Any other names?
Garutman.
Yes. Suparna, Garutman. Satyan is one of the names. It's a tough name. I'll say Satyan is one of the names. Any more?
Vainateya.
Okay, Vainateyan. Okay. And then Vihageshwaran and Tarkshan. So there are 5 names mentioned in Pancharatra Agama. So those 5 names happen to be Satya, Suparna, Garuda, Tarkshya, and Vihageshwara. Okay, so those are Those are the 5 different names of Garutman that are mentioned in Pancharatna Samhita. But you guys got most of them. And then the next question that I might ask is, what is the favorite prasadam for Garutman? Does anybody know?
Snakes.
Absolutely. But when you go to temples, they cannot offer snakes for Garutman, right? They have to do some prasadam. That is a favorite prasadam for Garutman.
Amrit Alasam.
Who said that?
Srimai.
Srimai said that. That's very nice. So
I'm
Amrita
also
Kalasam.
brother.
What is that, Kana?
I mean, I'm also Shriman's sister.
I know very well. Srimai is Sriman's sister, and that's why you have. That's why you are also brilliant like your brother. That's a great answer, Amrita Kalasam. Why do you think they make Amrita Kalasam for Garutman?
Because he stole the nectar and
Because
nectar.
Perumal got him the Amrita Kalasam.
Right. So small correction. He won over Indra and got the nectar. So he didn't actually steal, but he got the nectar. You got the point. I understand what you meant. He got nectar for relieving who from what?
Relieving his mom.
Relieving his
He
mom
relieved
From being the slave of
Kadru.
Kadru.
Very nice. By being the slave of Kadru, and he got Amritam, and as a symbolic, offering for that story, um, the I tell you, the Amrita Kalasam is made. It is offered to Garutman to symbolize that he is the holder of the nectar that was brought down. So and then that's how it goes. That's the next question I had. Third is this is a tough one. Okay, try it. There is nothing wrong in trying. What is the favorite color of clothes that Garutman wears?
red.
Who said that?
Sarvesh.
How did you know that?
Because every day during Garuda Vahanam, Garuda always wears red.
That is absolutely right. I'm surprised. Varada Vishnu and Sarvesh, you guys nailed it. That's awesome. But there is also a proof behind it. Like we have always spoken about, right? We should always look for proof for anything we do, particularly for our religious beliefs and activities. We should always follow our acharya and don't go behind Google, but ask your parents or the elders or acharyas for clarification on anything. And the proof for this is in Garuda Panchashat, Swami Deshikan says, Rakta Chandada Kanke, Pakkat Kanchi Mahinma, Panimani Mahasal, Lohitango Bhujangaha. So when he is describing Garutman and he is describing the clothes that he is wearing, Garutman is described as wearing a red clothing right beneath his belt, which is also a snake. Okay, and we'll see that during our session that goes around. But red is the color of his favorite cloth that he wears. That's a great answer, Vishnu Sarvesh, Varada Vishnu and Sarvesh, right? So next question I'm going to ask is, this is probably an easy peasy lemon squeezy one. So who wrote Garuda Dandakam?
Swami Deskan.
Swami Desikan.
There you go. Everybody knows Swami Desikan wrote Garuda Dandakam. Why did he write?
He write it because the snake charmer.
And he challenged him to face his snake, and then so said Garuda Dandakam, and then Garudarva came and took the snake away.
Okay.
He wrote Garuda Dandakam to protect himself from the snake.
Snake charmer, right? Wonderful. Sauni, do you have to say anything?
No.
Okay. Okay. So give me 1 second. bear with me for 1 second. I'm trying to see how to make click the customize and control Google Chrome settings. Okay. Okay, now I'll see if I can go there on YouTube. Still takes me to Internet Explorer. Yes, okay. So, okay, next question. Sorry for that. The next question is, there are a few references to Garutman, obviously in Vedam and Divya Prabandham. Payyudai Naga Pahai Kudiyan. Okay, Naga Pahai Kudiyan. Nagam means snake. Padai means, Pahai means enemy. Kudiyan means the person that has, Kudi means it's a flag, right? So whoever has the enemy of the snakes in his flag, which is Perumal, right? So that's the reference made to Perumal. But can anybody tell me where this occurs? This is a tough one again. Okay, there is nothing wrong in trying. If you're wrong, that's totally fine. But Payyudai Naga Pahai Kudiyan.
It's a Tirupaland.
Oh, whoa, I heard 3 voices. I know Shriman answered, I know Aparajitan answered, and who's the third person?
Srimai again.
Wonderful. Again. So, Payyudai Naga Pagai Kudiyanukku Pallandu Kurudume. That is where Garutman is also referenced. And do you know who wrote it?
Periyar.
Periyar. Right. But who was Periyarvar's Amsam? Who is Periyarvar?
Garuda.
There you go. There you go. Right.
That's
So
why the Gudra in when Krishna said Bhagavad Gita, that was Garuda. Garuda was in the Gudra. So
Yes, but that was
so that's how Andal. Someone asked Andal, how does Andal know all these things? And Andal said that her appa was Hamsam of Garuda.
Very nice. That's very nice. That's absolutely right. You guys nailed it. You never fail to surprise me, or you never fail to, give the right answers. Kids, you guys are.
usually Garudan is on the flag, but since Anjaneya granted Bhima a wish that he will be on the pose on the flag staff of Arjuna, like as he went to Lanka. So instead, Perumal so Garuda went inside the horses, so he had double protection. Arjuna. Triple actually, because Perumal is also there.
Wonderful, wonderful, Aparajitan. So I'm going to ask 2 more similar questions. Okay. Siragu Melar Pinkil Varuvane Brindavanate Kandome. And then Veyel Kapan Vinatai Chirvan. Right? So the point behind this is, wherever Perumal goes, if you look up in the sky, you will always be able to see Garutman circling on top. That is the general notion. Back in Vivideshams, where there are big Utsavams or Perumal is going out, definitely you can see Garutman circling on top of Perumal. Okay, so it is supposed to figuratively mentioned as his wings are behaving like the umbrella for Umachi or Perumal. Okay, that is means Veyel Kapan Vinatai Chirvan. So it's like an umbrella that is preventing Perumal from getting exposed to the sun rays. And then Siragu Melar Pinkil Varuvane Brindavanate Kandome. Do you know who wrote this and where this appeared?
Andal, and it was from Nacha Tirumari in the last Tirumari.
Wonderful. Yes, that's true. So I have that's a great answer. I didn't expect that you guys will know. I thought I might have to give you a clue, but Nachar Tirumari and Andal wrote it. And I have in chat, one person is writing that is the YouTube live streaming not working? Yes, that is true. For whatever reason, I just tried to make my default browser as Google Chrome, and it's always going into Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer is not logging in, even though I'm connected to the account on YouTube. For some reason, the live streaming is not picking up. But I have the recording going on. So at some point, I think we may be able to extract it and upload it to YouTube for later review. But to answer the question in the chat, yes, let me type that also. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. She heard it. Yeah. So I'm not able to do that. That's the reason for the brief pause I had in between while I was asking you questions. But anyhow, long story short, let's just jump into the material now. And then we started off last. These are my list of questions, and you guys, like always, aced through them. So now there are a lot of stories we reviewed about Garutman, and there is two important slokams written by Swami Deshikan on Garutman. One is Garuda Dandakam, and what's the other one?
Garuda Panchashat.
Garuda Panchashat.
Yes.
Garuda Panchashat.
Yes. Srimayi, Aparajitan, and Sriman. You nailed it, Garuda Panchashat. And the reason why I raised that up is because Swami Deshikan references all of the important stories that that Garutman is associated with in his Garuda Panchashat, and how nice it will be to listen from Swami Deshikan on the stories that have been told by Swami Deshikan himself. So Swami Deshikan wrote this Garuda Panchashat as Panchashat means how much? What is the number system in Panchashat?
50.
50.
50.
Practically speaking, Garuda Panchashat has 52 slokams. Not just 50, but 2 more. And why do they have 2 more slokams? Does anybody know?
Phalashruti.
You guys are awesome.
Palashruti.
Yes, the two extra slokams are Palashruti. Actually, it is 50. 50 is the actual count of the sloka Grantham itself. Not Grantham, but Slokam itself. But the remaining 2 are the Palashrutis. Okay, so this 50 slokams have been split into like 6 segments. First segment is called Paravyuha Varnam, and the second segment is called Amritaharana Varnam, and the third segment is called Nagadamana Varnam. Parishkara Varnam is the 4th, and Adbhuta Varnam is the 5th. Right? So Paravyuha Varnam is from slokas 1 through 8. Amritaharana Varnam is from slokas 9 to 25. Nagadamana Varnam is from 26 to 35. Parishkara Varnam is from 36 to 45. And Adbhuta Varnam is from 46 to 50. Okay. So what does Paravyuha Varnam mean? The Vyuha Murti of Perumal, the Sankarshana Murti of Perumal, right? Garutman is supposed to be the incarnation of the Sankarshana Murti of Perumal. In Garuda Dandakam, we have a word that says Sankarshanatman Garutman, right? Garutman is supposed to be the Sankarshanatman. So he is the Sankarshana Murti's Amsam of Perumal. Okay. And Amrita Aharana Varnam means he literally defeated Indra and all of the Devas to get hold of Amritam in order to release his mother from the curse. We just spoke about that in the beginning of the class during the quiz. So how he did that, how Garutman did that is in Swami Deshikan's own words is the Amritaharana Varna. In those from 9 to 25 slokams, Swami Deshikan describes in great detail of how that happened. And then the next is Naga Damana Varna. Okay, Naga Damana means pounding of the snakes. So after taking the Amritam, Garutman literally, take the snakes for a royal pounding. Okay, and all of that great detail is captured in that segment from 26 to 35 slokams. And then Parishkara Varnam. Parishkara Varnam is how those snakes, each one of those snakes that's around the body of Garutman, how those snakes, what they are, what are their nature, what are they doing, and how are they decorating Garutman in each one of the locations that they are present in, is Parishkara Varnam. And Adbhuta Varnam is the glorification of Garutman by all of the different stories that he has appeared in all through the Puranams, in Vedams and Prabandhams and everywhere, as described by Vedanta Deshikan himself. Okay, this comprises the whole of Garuda Panchashat, and we'll just go a super high level from segment to segment, looking at the stories. So this is more like a compendium, or more like a, Swami Deshikan has compiled all of the stories in great detail for us in capturing all of the information in Garuda Panchashat. So if we just follow Garuda Panchashat, we will be quite adequately covered in terms of the background about Swami Garutman and his exploits. So let's go into the Garuda Panchashat slokam. And the first one, like the Paravyuha Varnam, has the first slokam. Does anybody know? I think Aparajita already knows, right?
Is it that like the Garuda mantra itself?
Yes.
Angeshwananda Mukhya Shruti Shikharame Dandakam Gandapurvam Prageva Bhesha Satchu Pradesha Manakham Yasta Suddhastra Bandaha Pakshavyadhyasta Pakshiditaya Mukapuda Prasputo Dharataram Mantram Garutpatam Tam Hutamahadaita Shekharam Chilayamaha.
That is wonderful. I can't say I'm impressed because I'm already impressed. And you guys nailed it. Angeshwananda Mukhya Shrutisikaramila Dandakam Gandapurvam. That is the first slokam. And for people that cannot go through the strict nuances and protocols of doing mantra upasana, Swami Deshikan has made it very convenient just to chant this one slokam. And by understanding the meaning, it gives you the effect of chanting the Garuda Mantram itself. Right? So Garuda Mantram was already practiced by Swami Deshikan on the mountain opposite to Swami Devanayakan Sannadhi in Tiruvendipuram. And Garutman appeared pratyaksham before Swami Deshikan. And when Garutman asked what he wanted, he asked for Haigriva Mantram. And Haigriva Mantram and Haigriva Vigraham were both presented to Swami Deshikan by Garutman. And who better than Swami Deshikan to guide us on how the Garuda Mantram is made? And this is the slokam that has it. So, as a shortcut, if you guys need to pray to Garutman, Haigrivan or Swami Deshikan, basically Garutman through Haigrivan and Swami Deshikan, this is a very convenient slokam that you can recite with a lot of respect, and you will definitely receive the effect of chanting Garuda Mantram. And this is even better than chanting the Garuda Mantram itself because it has the correlation or it has the relation with Swami Deshikan also, right? Because these were uttered by Swami Deshikan. And because it's been authorized by Swami Deshikan's usage, so it has more importance than just us doing the mantram directly, because we have our Acharyan's guidance also. And we are following that guidance is also a great way to get Perumal's blessings. Okay. Next, the next sloka I want to jump to is sloka number 3, where he says about Netram Gayatra Muche Trivirdishi Shiro Namadheyam Mijumshi. I know, Aparajitan is already excited. Do you know this slokam also, dude?
Yes, I know till 40. I know till 42 and I'm learning till 45.
Oh, by heart?
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Will I be putting you in a spot if I ask you to recite this?
Sure, I guess.
You could?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Etrangaayatra moche dradit chakshiro namadheyam yajunki chandam changami drishnatna virani sapet vigraho vamadevyam yasyastomatmano sobhrati tara garuddata shamnath puchaha swachanyam naf prasutam suti satashikara bhishtuta atma garutman.
Very nice. Who's teaching you this?
Amma, my amma.
Very nice, very nice. You know, Garutman was born just to make his mom get out of the curse. So if you be really nice to your mom, you will get a lot of blessing from Garutman. Okay, so that's very nice. And this slokam, jumping into the meaning of the slokam, as compiled by Swami Deshikan, there is a mantram called Suparnosi Garutman Drivatte Shiroga Aitram Chakshustoma Atma Samadhyatanovadevyam. Yes. Brihadratantare Paksho Ygyam Puchanjandagam Singha Vishnya Shapa Yajugum Shinama Suparnosi Garutman Divangacha Suvapata. This is from Krishna Yajurveda Taittiriya Samhita, 4th Kandam, 1st Prashna, right? And that's where this mantram appears. And Swami Deshikan has encapsulated the meaning of that particular rik of Suparnosi Garutman completely into this slokam. Okay, so he says Netram Gayatra Muche Trivirdishishi Shiro Namadheyam Yajumshi. Like he goes, the self of Garuda is the stoma part of Samavedam, and then his eyes are made of Gayatri Mantram. His head is nothing but Trivrit Mantram, and his name itself is Yajurveda, and the limbs are the Chandas of the Yajurveda. And the Dishnya is the Homakundam, or the altar in front of which the Yajnam is performed, or the Ritviks perform the Yajnam, are supposed to be the hoofs. Dishnya Shapha Yajugumshi Nama. Shapha means the hoofs of Garutman. And then the Samams are called as Vamadevyam, and his Shariram is the Brihat Samam, and his wings are the Ratantara Samam. And the other called Yajna Yajniyam, is the tail of the Garutman, the bird tail of the Garutman. So these are compared to the forms of or the parts of Garutman or the body parts of Garutman that are made of Vedas, the segments of Vedas in Sama Vedam, Yajur Vedam, and all different Vedams. And that's mentioned in the fourth Kandam Pradama Prashnam of Taittiriya Samhita. And that has been very, very effectively captured by Swami Desikan in this third slokam, Netram Gayatram Mucha. Okay. And then we'll just jump to fifth slokam, a little bit of explanation of how Swami Desikan's mathematical prowess is proven here. Again, Aparajitan, slokam 5 starts with Eko Vishnor Dvitiyastra Viditam.
Panchavarni Rahasyam Shad Gunyasmer Saptaswaragatina Nimadyasya Sampannavaatma Devo Darvikarari Dashasadanayana Ravisa Hastralakshe Vikredhat Pakshakotir Vigada Bhayam Vita Sankhyodayonaha.
Very nice, very nice. So this, one thing about Swami Desikan's greatness is that he was a poet as well as a logician. Generally poets are very rich and fertile in their imagination, but also poets exaggerate a lot. Okay, in order to make it sound very imaginative, in order to make it sound very flowery, there is a lot of exaggeration involved. It is even justified, as it is called as Atishayokti Alankara. When poets write it, they intentionally exaggerate to make it sound beautiful, to capture the imagination of the audience. Like they say the person walks like a tiger. Like, does he really, wear stripes in his body and have yellow paint and walk really like a tiger? No. But figuratively speaking, it's kind of an exaggeration to, how to describe the majestic walk of a person, particularly, for example, Lord Rama. Rama used to walk like a tiger. So, you get the hang of what I'm saying. So that's how poets normally do. But Swami Desikan was a poet in the sense that he had very flowery imagination. At the same time, he was also a mathematician and a logician. In the sense, he had very objective reasoning in terms of logic when he wrote his poems also. It was not just like he was a single trick pony, like all he knew was just to write poems. No. Both of his lobes of brain, one of the lobes that controlled the analytical part was like flaming, blazing, and the other one, which is the imaginary creative part, was also flaming. There are very few people that have both lobes of their brain work at the same time. And Swami Desikan was one such genius, which is very evident from this particular slokam we are going to go into, where he starts from number system, starting from 1 to 10, and he goes 10, 100, 1,000, lakh, crore, and also he addresses infinity. He doesn't stop at just a crore, and he goes up to infinity. So he goes from 1 to infinity in a slokam that also talks about Swami Garutman's greatness. Okay, so Yeko Vishnu Dvitiyas Trisutra Viditam Panchavarni Rahasyam. So this Garutman is the second manifestation. Is the second manifestation of Perumal, right? That is Sankarshana Murti. Eko Vishnu Dvitiyaha. Tri Chatura Viditam Panchavarni Rahasyam. Okay, so only 3 or 4 people know the secret meaning of Panchavarni Rahasyam. Panchavarni Rahasyam is nothing but the Garuda Mantra. Garuda Mantra is made of 5 syllables, so it's called as Panchavarni Rahasyam. It is a secret that not many people know about, right? So this, he covered. One is Garutman, that is the second incarnation of the second manifestation of Vishnu's Paravyuha Vibhava Archa Antaryami Murti. And then only 3 or 4 people know about the 5-syllabled mantra. Okay, so we went from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then Shadgunyas Mera Sapta Swaragati Ranimade Ashtasampannavatma. So he says Shadgunyas Mera Sapta. So the Shad Gunams, the 6 different Gunams, does anybody know what those are? It comes in Gadyatrayam. Jnana, Shakti, Bhala, Aishwarya. Anybody else?
Like Virya Shakti,
Tejas, Sausilya.
Vatsalyam.
Yeah. So all of those keep going, but the main six, the Shadgunyam, the Shadgunams are depicted there, and he is an embodiment of those Shadgunya Smera Saptaha, Swaragati Ranima, Shadgunya Smera Sapta Swaraha, the Sapta Swarams, which form the tenets of Samavedam, right? Or the Sapta Swaragati, which are the tenets of Samavedam. He is the embodiment of those. Shadgunya Smera Sapta Swaragati Ranimate Animate Attasampannavatma. So there are 8 different types of siddhis, right? Anima, Laima, Garima, and all of those 8 different Ashtamaha siddhis, right? So that is also Garutman's. Garutman also knows all of those Ashtamaha siddhis. So he went from 6, 7, and 8. Ashtasampan Navatma. For Nava means 9, but Swami Deshikan uses the second meaning of Nava to here is that he is fresh every time. Like Nava also is new, not just Nava as the number 9. It is intended to be shown as 9, but the meaning here is Navatma, as in he is a fresh form every single time. Devo Darvikara Shadgunya Smera Sapta Swargadrinamadhyashta Sampannavatma Devo Darvikararit Dasha Shata Nayana Rati Sahasra Lakshaihi Vikridat Pakshakotihi Vikatayatavayam Vita Asankhyodayonaha. So in short, he says the Dasha Shata Nayana Arati Sahasraha, meaning thousands of enemies of Indra, who has Dasha Shata Nayana, which is 10 times 100, which is 1000, right? They have thousands of eyes, and those words denoting lakhs and crores come about like Vikridat Paksha Kotihi. Paksha Koti means the feathers that he has, the crores and crores of feathers that he has. Paksha Kotihi Vikataya Thubayam Vida Sankhyo Deyona. And for Lakshya, he uses it again as a double meaning word. Lakshya means target. So he becomes the target for Sampannavatma, and then in describing that Garuda as having Dashasatanayana Arati Sahasra Lakshehe. So the demons that have thousands of eyes become the target of Garutman with Koti feathers, right? And then he says, playfully makes the enemies of Indra as his target, right? So that is how he goes all the way from 1 through 10 to 100,000, and then lakh and a crore, right? Asankhyo Dayonaha, and that is, he also goes to infinity. So infinity is a pretty complex idea to understand, right? So Swami Desikan was also aware of that, and he also used it along with his poetic usage about Garutman and Garuda Panchashat. So that talks about Swami Desikan being an analytical expert, also a poet. And also remember, he was a Kavitarkika Kesari, right? He was not just a Kavi, he was also a Tarkika Kesari. He was also a very good debater. If you're not good in logic, and if you're not really absolute or objective in approach, winning in debates is very tough, right? Because people can spin you around with their specious reasoning and can derail you. But unless you are objective and fixed on your target, it is very difficult to be a good debater. But Swami Deshikan was also a poet and a very astute logician, analytical debater as well, right? So that is very clear from this sloka. And then the ninth slokam, we go into the Amritaharana Varnam. Amritaharana Varnam, like I said, is where Garutman defeats Indra in getting the Amritam from him. And then while doing that, Swami Deshikan also pays respects to one particular person other than Garutman. That is Garutman's mother herself. Garutman's mother, who is Garutman's mother? Vinata, and she is also referred to as Dakshayani because she was the daughter of Daksha Prajapati, right? So Dakshayani, he says, Ahartaram Sudaya Duradigama Maha Chakradurga Stitaya Jetaram Vajrapane Saha Vibudaganehi Ahave Bhagavegat Vishno Sampriyamane Varavinimayato Vishwa Vikhyata Kirtim Devam Yasu Dasaso Dishatu Bhagavati Sharma Dakshayani Naha. So he pays his respects to Dakshayani also, that because of her giving birth to Garutman, and because of Garutman going over to take the Amritam away from Indra, is why Perumal gets him as his chariot, and also gets him on the flag for Perumal, right? So starting from this slokam up until the 25th slokam, we have the exploits of Garutman and bringing the nectar back from Indra to free his mother from the curse. Okay, and then on the 15th slokam, right, he says Kim nirghataha kimarkaha. Aparajitan, do you want to help me out?
Okay. किं निर्घातः किमर्कः परिपतति विभक्तिं समिद्धौ यमोर्णवः किं सत्कार्थस्वराद्रियणु विदितमिदं व्योमवर्तमा गरुत्मान् आसीदत्याजिहीर्षत्यभिपतति हरत्यत्तिहातातहांहेदि आलोपोऽध्युक्तभिल्लाकुलचटरपुटः पातनः पत्रिनाथः.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Kim smit kartaswaradhrir nanu viditamidam yomavatman garutman. So this is very nicely done, Aparajitan. So so when Garutman is born, right, he's ready to go and then conquer the world. So he asks Vinata that he's hungry and what he can have, and obviously Vinata says there is a bunch of hunters nearby in the forest that have been tormenting all animals and birds. So Vinata says, why don't you go and have them for your food? And Garutman says, okay, I will do that. And Vinata says, be careful. These hunters are very reckless, and people that don't have any pity for the animals they kill. But make sure you don't hurt pious people. Like if there is a Brahmin that is chanting Vedam, or if there is some pious person, don't eat them. Just eat the hunters, is what she says. And Garutman says, oh Amma, I'm going to be going down. Garutman is so big. He's going to be going and eating hunters by the bunch, like 50, 100 people in one scoop. How would I differentiate, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Oh, no, you're a good guy. I'm not going to eat you next. If I do that, then everybody will run away, is what Garutman says. And Vinata says, okay, don't worry. If you accidentally swallow or take in any pious person like a Brahmin, then your mouth will start burning and your throat will start burning. Then you can realize that you have done something, and then you have to spit them out immediately to make sure that you don't eat those people. Okay, so Garutman says that, and Vinata says that, and Garutman goes and he exactly does, like he scoops a bunch of hunters and has them, and accidentally there is one Brahmin that goes into his mouth, and like Vinata told him, his mouth starts burning and there is the burn in his neck, and he immediately spits him out. But guess what? The Brahmin guy says, no, you don't spit me alone. My wife is also stuck in your mouth, who happens to be a huntress. So you have to spit her out also if you need to spit me out. And then Garutman says, fine, I will also spit your wife, that is a hunter, out. And then both of them get saved from their life, and other people are consumed by Garutman. Okay, that's another interesting story. And guess after that, he goes to visit Kashyapa, his father, and his hunger is still not satisfied, right? His hunger is still not satisfied, and he says to Kashyapa that he's hungry, and then and Kashyapa says, before you go to Indra to fight and get the Amritam for your mother, there are 2 creatures by the lake right down the mountain, and make sure you eat those 2 creatures and satisfy your hunger before you go to get the Amritam. Yes. Yes, the tortoise and the elephant. Very good, Suparna. The tortoise and the elephant were the 2 animals that were fighting. Aparajitan, do you want to help me with the slokam? Sandra krodhanubandhat sarasinakmukhe padape khandashile.
सान्द्रक्रोधानुबन्धात् सरसिनखमुखे पादपे गण्डशैले तुण्डाग्रे कण्डरन्ध्रे तदनुजठरे निर्विशेषं यत्सु अव्याधस्मानभव्यातविदितनखरश्रेणितं श्राभिघातो जीवग्रां गृहीत्वा कमटकर्णो भक्षयन् पक्षिमल्लः.
Very nice, wonderful. Kamata Karatinau. Kamata and Karatinau are the elephant and the tortoise, right? So does anybody know the story already? We'll see if somebody else know. Otherwise, you can tell the story.
So what happened was the elephant and the tortoise were fighting among themselves, and then so Kashyapa said to go eat them.
Very nice. Do you know, Chuparna? Do you know the story? Can you be loud, real quick? Go ahead.
Okay. The elephant and the tortoise were fighting together, and Kashyapa said to Garudaman, go eat them, and till then your hunger will be satisfied fine.
Very nice. Wonderful. Good job. So does anybody know what's the name of the elephant and the tortoise? So its name is Vaibhavam and Supratika. Okay, Vaibhavam and Supratika were two hermit brothers that had a fight based on the inherited property issues from their parents, and they were fighting each other, stomping each other out, and the other guy was not responding when the other guy stomped him, and he said, one of the hermits cursed the other one to say, hey, if you stomped me like an elephant, you be born as an elephant, is how Supratika cursed Vaibhavam, and Vaibhavam said, if you are going to be so reluctant to even talk to me like a tortoise, you become a tortoise. And one person became an elephant, the other person became a tortoise, and guess what happened? Even after becoming an elephant and tortoise, they still kept fighting. And Kashyapa said, no. Garudman, go eat those two fighting brothers. And guess what happened when Garudman came down and pulled them up into their mouth? They didn't still stop fighting. They still kept fighting inside of Garudman's mouth also. And then Garudman crushed them in her mouth and swallowed them and satisfied his hunger. Okay. So the moral from the story is, don't fight with your siblings. Akka or Anna or Tangai or brothers, don't fight, because if you fight and hurt yourself, then it's not good. That's the moral of the story from here. Okay. So Supratika and Vaibhavam, then Garudman has them for food, and he flies over to go to fight Indra. Okay. So the 24th slokam, I very well know, Aparajitan, I know I said this was 25th slokam and you corrected that this was 24th. You were right. 24th slokam. Can you help me? This is one of the most important slokams. There are two important slokams in Garuda Panchashat, and this one is very important. Eswange Sankarantar Garuda Anilalava Stambite Jambashatrau Kuntastre Sannakantam Praniti Pavaye Pakshalesham Didesha. The remaining, can you help me out, Aparajitan, please?
So smakam samidhattam surapatipatana bandayuddhe kamallaha mangalyam valakhilya dvijavarata kopi murto vivartaha.
Very nice, very nice. I'll give you one clue also, Aparajitan.
I think I know what's important, because it mentions valakhilya Munigar.
Yes.
So I think
I want to tell you something else before you go to explain it. I'll let you do it also. But one thing I want to mention to you is, if you ever go to India in the month of October, right? In the month of October, if you go to India, Tiruvendipuram, Swami Deshikan's Tirnakshatram obviously is celebrated extremely extravagantly, because that is where Swami Deshikan lived for a long time. And you have a Haigrivan Sannadhi on top of the mountain, right? So in that mountain, on the Haigrivan Sannadhi, on Swami Deshikan's birthday or Janma Nakshatram, Puratasi Shravanam obviously, Swami Deshikan goes on top of the mountain, and Haigrivan and Swami Deshikan are placed in the Ekasana. Like Swami Deshikan sits right next to Haigrivan, and guess what they chant at that time on top of the mountain?
they chant
Garuda Panchashat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so since you know this by heart, by any chance, if you ever go to India in October during Puratasi Shravanam time, definitely make that trip, and you can have the great experience of chanting this Garuda Panchashat in front of Haigrivan and Swami Deshikan on Ekasimhasana. I have done it a few times, and guess what? There are not many people that know. So if you go there, you will definitely get a chance to chant it, and it is one of the most divine experiences that you can get. So I'm not asking you to go right away, but if you get a chance, definitely keep it in the back of your mind. I'm sure since you have by-hearted so much, Perumal will also give you an opportunity to listen this from your mouth. Okay, I'm definitely sure you will get the opportunity. But anyhow, this slokam is you want to say a few words, Aparajitan?
I think it's the story about how uh like when he's like flying, he's going to the place where Indra is, and in Swargam, and he sees the Volakilya Munis.
No,
Like
no. So here's how it goes. Here's how you got there. You almost got there. Just a few points to correct it. Is that or to support it? Is that this is more of a symbolic slokam in which Swami Deshikan expresses his opinion that Garutman is the effect of Valakilyas performing the yajnam. And
Yeah.
during the yajnam, which was performed by Kashyapa Prajapati and the 60,000 Valakilyas, Indra apparently ended up insulting
he insulted them.
the
but-
Valakilyas
but-
because they were only like the size of the finger, but they were trying to take one twig
Yeah.
by a bunch of Valakilyas. And Indra was like, hey, if you guys really wanted to do a yajnam, you could have told me, and I would have flooded you with all the twigs that you wanted, instead of like
Yeah.
3 or 4 Valakilyas getting together and trying to
And then
move
like
one twig.
Indra talks about himself and he takes a
Yes.
whole tree and
Right. And they said, and he said, why do you guys trouble yourself? Like you guys are so small. And when do you think you'll be able to get all the twigs that are required to perform a yajnam? If you carry like one twig by 4 or 5 people, how long will it take for you guys to get all the twigs and get all of the, abhigarams and
I know
everything?
this. I know the story.
Yes, go ahead, Sriman.
The Valakilyas, they Indra insults them, and then the Valakilya rishis become angry.
Right.
So,
And they
so
say
they give
that
him a
another
sharp.
Indra will be born that will reduce your anger and pride, because you think we are useless people, just we don't know that we cannot get enough twigs for performing yajnam, and we are doing. Is that what you're thinking? But Valakilyas are supposed to be very, very small in size, but they are huge in their austerity and vairagyam and in their mantra shakti, right? So even one
Indra goes to the yajna spot, and then Kashyapa Rishi says that he cannot start the yajna without the Valakilya rishis. Then Indra realizes his mistake and he goes and apologizes. But the Valakilya rishis say that they have already given the curse, so so that he will transfer the curse, so that Kashyapa Maharishi's son will be the one to defeat you.
Right, right. So that name gives that Pakshindran, right? He's not just another.
Pakshindran.
He's an Indran that was born to reduce or to defeat the pride of Indra himself, and that's the reason why Garutman got his name as Pakshindran. So he's also an Indran that defeated the actual Indra, who is the king of gods.
Pakshi means a bird. Indran means like the king of birds.
Lot
So
of birds.
Pakshindran also means the king of birds.
Right, a lot of birds. So that's absolutely right. So he does that, and this slokam here, Mangalyam Valikilya Dujavara Tapasam Kopi Murto Vivartaha. So he says is, so the power of the Valikilya Munis, okay, that consolidated all of the yajnam's fruit into into Garutman's form. Let that power of Valakilyas save us from any problems that we might get into, is Swami Deshikan's prayer through the shloka. So he says, Garuda Anilalavas Thambite Jambashatru. Jambashatru is Jambasura's killer, who is none other than Indra himself, right? So Garutman literally is Thambite Jambashatru, means he stalled Indra from preventing him from taking the Amritam, right? And then Samvidattam Surapati Pratana Dvanda Yuddhaikamallo. Surapati means again Indra. Pratana means the fall of Surapati caused by the fight between the two, Garutman and Indra, and the tapas of the Valakilyas that made Garutman so great let that tapas of the Valakilya protect us from all forms of evil and all forms of troubles that we might ever get into. That is the slokam. This encompasses the activity of Garudman taking the Amritam away from Indra. Okay. And then the next slokam, 26th slokam, is Nagadamana Varnakaha, where the pounding of the snakes, like how Garutman takes care of the snakes and gives them a royal whacking, is how it is told there. And then the next one will be the Parishkara Varnam, which is starting from the slokam number 36, right? Parishkara Varnam, this is one another very nice gem of a slokam. And this is Vame Vaikunta Shayya Panipati Katako Vasuki Brahmasutra. Do you want to try, Aparajitan?
Yeah, Vame Vaikuntasaya Panipati Katako Vasuki Brahmasutra Rakshenastakshakena Pratita Kaditata Charuka Arkota Haraha Padmam Karne Pasavye Pratimavati Maha Padmam Anyatra Bibhrate Chudayam Shankapalam Gulikam Apibhute Dakshine Pakshimallaha.
Very nice. Again, there are 8 different snakes. There is a mention of 9 different snakes in the slokam. There are 8 different snakes in the Tirumeni of Garutman, where he is wearing them. So those details of those snakes and the locations where they are worn by Swami Deshika, by Garutman, is described by Swami Deshika in the slokam. So Vame Vaikunta Shayya Panipati Katako. Panipati Katako means Kataka, the lord of snakes. Vasuki Brahmasutra. Vasuki becomes the Brahmasutram or the Punal for Garutman. Rakshennaha, so who wears Vasuki as the sacred thread or Vasuki as the Punal, and then Takshaka on his girdle, like Takshaka is the belt for Garutman, and then Karkotaka is the garland or the mala that hangs on his neck, and then Padma and Mahapadma are the 2 earrings on his right and left ears, and then the Shankapala is put up on his head as a crown, and then Gulika is between his hands as a raksha, right? So these snakes, why are they treated as ornaments? Does anybody know? Like snakes are poisonous creatures. Like why would you treat a snake, poisonous creature like an ornament? Is it because they are like shiny and they have different colors and different patterns in their body? Is that why? Can anybody else try? Like Stavya, Vijay,
Perumal snakes.
What is that, Ma?
Perumal controls these snakes.
Okay.
Is it because Garuda defeated Kadru's snakes?
Right. Saumi, I think you got it. You're almost there. But
Like
what,
and then
what aspect of
Kadru
the snakes make them a jewel?
Kadru, like since she realized Garuda defeated her or something, she gave him the snake.
Let me clarify. Okay. Have you ever, guys, like this is, I mean, all my questions are very tough. Okay. So please don't feel bad if you got the answer wrong.
I think I got the end.
Go ahead, Sriman.
Garuda like defeated all the snakes. So like in return, he's wearing all the snakes, and the snake's venom doesn't affect him.
Understood. But my question is, what aspect of the snakes make them a jewel? Like he's wearing something in the crown in the head, something in the belt. Generally, you will find the Perumal's wearing some, gems to the crown or
Perumal. Is Perumal blessing him? Kind of thing?
Yeah, but there is something called Nagaratnam. Have you guys heard about it? It is one of the mythical gems. It's like you have the poison, right? The proteins that are held in the fangs of the snakes that actually kill its enemies when it bites or when it punches its fangs into its target, right? When a snake doesn't bite anybody for a long period of time, all of that poison gets accumulated in a gland on top of its head and it solidifies. Okay, so that solidified poison on the head of a snake is called Nagaratnam. It is supposed to be extremely precious, extremely precious, because that snake has to be very disciplined in order to not have expunged his poison to any person or anybody by biting. and that poison must have solidified into a stone on top of its head, and that stone is very, very luminous, and it's very bright, and is extremely invaluably precious. And
I have a question.
yes, yes.
You said Garuda fought with 9 snakes, right?
He has 8 in the body, and generally all the 9 snakes are mentioned here because there are conflicting references. So here in the slokam it says Vame Vaikunta Shayya. So to the right side there is Adiseshan. Right side of Garutman in Sri Vaikuntam is Adiseshan. There is one reference. And in some granthams it's referred to as Adiseshan as his anklet on his forehand. So there are slightly variations in that. But apart from that, generally there are references to 9 snakes and generally 8 on his body. Now, what's the question?
My question was like, where's like the 9th snake?
Yeah, 9th snake is Adiseshan. You got it.
Oh, okay.
Nailed it, buddy.
Wait, the 9 snakes are Adiseshan?
No, the 9th.
Oh, the 9th snake is Adiseshan.
But I thought Adiseshan was a Nityasuri, right?
Right. That's why he's not wearing him. That's that Pariman is lying on Adiseshan, right?
Wait, so does the Naga thingy that the snakes make, that's the thing Garutman wears?
No, he wears the snake, and when the snakes stand up with their heads, with the gems on their heads, it looks like an ornament. It looks like
okay.
right. So when they sway their heads and they have their Nagaratnam in their head, them having checkered bodies and patterns with this gem on top of their head makes it look like a beautiful jewel. And in Garuda Dandakam also, Swami Deshikan says, so in Garuda Dandakam, when these snakes sway around in a particular pattern, it almost looks like the snakes are performing a Mangalarati for Garudman, like a Mangala Niranjanam. Kanti Kalloli Nirajitam, right? That Nirajitam means Harati. So it almost looks like the luminescence from those snakes heads or the Nagaratnam makes it looks like they are performing Mangalarati for Garutman. But anyhow, the point is there are 9 different snakes. The 9th one being Adiseshan, that's right next to right next to Garutman, on which Parimal is lying down. And it could also be referenced as an anklet in some of the scriptures, but that is still debatable. But those are the 9 snakes, and there are 8 snakes identified exactly on the location of the body of Garutman, right?
Are you sharing your screen?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and after this, Kana, from Slokam 36, each Slokam up until the Adbhuta Varnam, which is 46, has references about each one of those snakes and Garutman's exploits in getting them on, and all of those details about that one particular Slokam, each one particular Slokam. And from Slokam 46, it is called the Adbhuta Varnam. Adbhuta Varnam is where the glory of Garutman is referenced in each one of the Slokams from 46. Kana, do you want to try Vegot Tanam Vidanam?
Oh, I haven't learned that yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I up to that last 46 to I know till 45.
Oh,
So,
wonderful. So 46 is Vegottanam Vidanam Yajanamanunam Vaijayanti Jayanti Mitram Nityabhyamitram Yudhi Vijayarato Yugya Yogan Apekshaha Daso Nishparya Daso Danutanepito Nissahaya Sahayo Dhodu Yetatsmadiyam Duridamadidarati Paksheswa Pakshehi. So this slokam is the slokam about Garutman's usefulness for Pirma. So he says Vegottanam Vidanam. Vidanam means flag. Garutman ends up being the flag of Parimal. Nice Tirman Chichornam Aparajitan. Good job. And then Vegottanam Vidanam. And he is also the Vijayaratham. Vijayaratham, or the victory chariot or the vehicle of Parimal. And he is also, as like we saw earlier, he's also performing the Kainkaryam of being an umbrella and protecting Parimal from the sun rays. And obviously, he's also being a fan when he sways his wings. The wind that is emanating from it, which is Vedaganam, is also performing the services of a fan for Perumal. So his utilities here to Perumal are clearly mentioned by Swami Deshikan. There is another slokam that does it. You know, it starts with Dasas Sakha Vahanam Asanam Dvajaha Yaste Vitanam Vyajanam Trayi Meha Upastitam Tena Puro Garutmata Tudangri Sammardha Kinanka Shobina. So Dasaha means is Perumal's devotee, Sakha is friend, Vahanam is vehicle, Asanam is seat, Dvajam is the flag, and then Vitanam is, Dvajam and Vitanam are more or less Vidanam means flag. I'm sorry, I kind of mixed up. He's on Garuda Dvajam, and he's also on the flag for Perumal, right? So this slokam, does anybody know where it comes? Dasa Saka Vahana Masanam Dvajaha. It was written by Swami Alavamdar.
Stotratnam,
Who said it?
Vardha Vishnu Sarvesh.
Narada Vishnu Sarvesh, you guys are awesome. Dasa Saka Vahana Masanam Dvajaha comes in Stotra Ratnam, and it clearly also captures the same level of detail that Swami Deshikan has had here. Okay, and then this slokam covers that, and it's very similar to Swami Alavandar's slokam in Stotra Ratnam. And the next one, 47th slokam, details about the Gajendra Moksham. Remember, I was the person that narrated the story on Gajendra Moksham earlier. I think there was the first of the story sessions. So where Perumal appears on top of Garuda Vahanam in order to save. You know the name of the king by any chance?
Indradyumnan.
There you go. Bang. Indradyumnan, very nice. Aparajitan. Indradyumnan is the name of the king, and there's obviously a crocodile that catches the legs of Gajendran, and then Garutman, Umachi comes on Garutman, picks up his Sudarshana Chakram, drops on the crocodile, and saves the elephant. Okay, that's the story on the 47th slokam. And 48th slokam, Swami talks about the Nagapasha Vimokshanam. In Ramayanam, where Lakshmana is hit by Rama and Lakshmana are hit by a missile or an arrow called Nagapasham, and they are tied by the snakes, and Garutman comes by himself and hugs Perumal and relieves all the snakes away. And there is a full sargam in Srimad Ramayanam that is dedicated to the Nagapasha Vimokshanam with great amount of detail. Once again, we have had that session in the story, one of the story sessions, and that is the 48th slokam, right? And 49th slokam is about Virochanam. Virochanam taking away Perumal's Kiritam, and that story was given to us by Arun Krishnamachari's Kumara Raman and a few other kids in one of the story sessions, how the Vairamudi, right? Krishna Rajamudi or Vairamudi was brought over back by Garutman. Garutman fought with Virochanan and got the Kiritam back, and then offered it to Krishna, and it made its way to Ramapriya and Perumal that is still available. And Vairamudi Sevai, you can have a darshan of the Vairamudi that was offered by Garutman himself. 49th slokam has that detail, and obviously 50th slokam talks about the greatness of Garutman and the Palashruti. Yat pakshastat trivedit triguna jananadir lankite yad gunagyehi vargaha straivargikanam katimhelapade nadavatyat sanataha traikalyo pastitatat triuganidhiraghat ayatat trayatam naha rasanekastidam nastadasaripuchamu mohano vahanendraha. This one name is very, very interesting. Swami Deshikan calls Garutman as Vahanendran, or the Lord of Vehicles. So when you guys go in the car, when you guys ride a bike, or when you guys ride a cycle, if you pray to Garutman, because he's the Lord of all vehicles, he will also protect you in your vehicle. Okay, Mohano Vahanendraha is proof of that, as mentioned by Swami Deshikan himself. And then the last one is Saikam Panchashatamyam Atanata Vinata Nandanam Nandaishyan Kritva Maulo Tadagyam Kavi Kataka Gatha Kesari Venkateshaha Tametam Shilayanta Shamita Vishadhara Vyadi Devadi Pidaha Kanksha Poratsilabha Kritamidharapalehi Takshakalpa Bhavanti. So this Garuda Panchashat or praying to Garutman is very important right now, because Swami Deshikan says it can take away the viruses, it can take away poisonous fevers, okay, bites, snake bites, or other different poisonous bites, and it can also take away mental problems, psychological problems, and also Swami Garutman will offer, obviously, Krishna Sayujyam. So Perumal, Garutman always, my grandfather used to say, Garutman has his hands like that during Garuda Vahanam. And what does he have on his
That's it,
hands?
Garuda Vahana.
Yeah, he has
Perumal
Garutman has
Padam.
Perumal's Tiruvadi. He has Perumal's Tiruvadi, and when Garutman is happy with you, he is going to give you what he has in his hands, which is nothing but Perumal's Tiruvadi, right? So generally, Swami Deshikan had Garutman as an Acharya Sthanam, because Garutman directed him to take Haigriva Mantram and did the Upadesham for Haigriva Mantram. So for Swami Deshikan, Garutman was in the Acharya Sthanam during that particular thing. So Garutman, when you pray to Garutman, he's happy, he's going to give you Perumal's Tiruvadi directly from Garutman. So this slokam, Swami Deshikan says, was constructed based on instructions from Garutman himself. Kritva Maulotat Agyam. So Garutman instructed Swami Deshikan to do the Garuda Panchashat, and then Swami Deshikan performed this Garuda Panchashat as an offering to Garutman. And chanting this Garuda Panchashat is going to relieve people from physical, mental afflictions, demons, serpents, and other things. And at this time where we are going through a pandemic, everything, Garuda Panchashat can definitely keep you in very good stead and keep you away from all the nonsense and keep you healthy, happy, and also give you Perumal's Tiruvadi. Special mention of thanks to Aparajitan for helping chant all the slokams and also guide us through. Varada Vishnu, Sarvesh, Saumi, Srimayi, Shriman, Mayura, and Vasumati Raghavan, Joshna, Kalpana, everybody, thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, this is a good time to ask. Otherwise, we are already 12 minutes over and we'll wrap up for the day. Okay, there are no questions. Yes,
Didn't
go ahead.
didn't Swami Deshikan only write about Garudan for Garuda Panchashat because he was an Acharya? If he wasn't if like an ordinary day, most people are only supposed to pray to Perumal if they're Perumal Bhagavata. But I think I'm pretty sure he wrote Garuda Panchashat because because he was an acharya and he led us to that occupation of Haigriva Mantram and the Garuda Mantram.
Right. That is very true. And the other point also to keep in mind is Garutman himself instructed Swami Deshikan to write Garuda Panchashat. That is mentioned in his own words and Swami Deshikan's words, like Kritva Maulo Tat Ajnam. Ajna means like order, right? Tad Ajna means Garutman's order. So I have rendered this Garuda Panchashat per the order from Garutman himself, is one of the sentences that Swami Deshikan mentions in the Palashruti. And then an interesting question raises, then why did he do Garuda Dandaka? He could have prayed to Lakshmi Narasimha, or he could have prayed to Krishna. Why did he pray
Because
to
Garudan was his Acharya, and
Yes,
he will
Garudan
be
was
more
his
happy
favorite
if
also.
Acharya protects him.
Also Garudan eats snakes, so eagles and
Fair enough. That's a good point.
It's
it's not that Krishna or Lakshmi Narasimha cannot handle snakes. They can handle snakes too, but it is more relevant for Garutman to help out when there is a snake problem, snake issue. At the same time, Garutman is also a favorite for Swami Deshikan and also his Acharyan, and that's why he did both of that. And he has very generous reference to Garutman in all his other Yadavabhyudayam and other kavyams and natakams and everything that he has written also. So that's pretty much. Any other questions, children? Otherwise we can wrap up for the day. We are 15 minutes over. Okay, let's chant Acharya Taniyan and wrap up.
I have a question.
Yes, Kanama. Sorry.
All of the 100 sons of Kadru were also the same sons that died in the Agni Kundam of Janamajan, right?
Not all of them. Yeah, but Janamajan did that Sarpayagam, and many of those snakes were drawn into the fire. Yes.
And didn't Kadru give them all the shapam?
Yes, that shapam was given to Kadru. That shapam was given by Kadru when they resisted to go and wrap around the tail
Yeah,
of
the
Uchak.
horse. Yeah, the horse, right?
Yes. They resisted initially, saying, "Oh, this is cheating. We can't do it." And then Kadru says, "Well, I'm your mommy. You need to do what I say. Otherwise, you go to this and curse." And she curses them to say, "You will all be drawn into the fire of Janamajan's Sarpayagam." And that's where the curse happened.
But I thought you said not all of them fell into the Kunda.
Yeah, there was Dakshan was wrapped around the Dakshan was wrapped around the
Dakshan was like he was
Daksha
wrapped around the
Daksha.
Simhasanam of Indra.
yeah, and then the rishis that were helping Janamaja do the yagan, they tweaked the mantram to bring Indra too.
Indra also.
Oh
yes.
yeah, I remember that. But like,
And then they come back and say, you know what, you
you
just can't wipe away the whole clan of snakes because the food cycle will be disturbed and there will be a lot of disarray in the
No,
village.
I'm not talking about all the snakes, but all of the Kadru sons, they all went to the Kundam, right? All of Kadru sons.
Not 100% because Daksha escaped, right?
But is Takshakan a son of Kadru?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the snakes that is on Garutman's body.
Oh, okay.
Vame Vaikunthashayya Panipadikadago Vasuki Brahmasutro Rakshenastakshakena Graditagadidatascharu Karkota Haraha, right? So see the curse. See, there is a curse. You're right. Technically speaking, it must have been total annihilation, devastation of all the snakes. But that apparently did not happen because Dakshan went and sought solace with Indra and he got rescued. So technically speaking, there was one exception where Daksha was saved because of the Rishi's intervention. And yes, the curse is a curse. And there was one person that was saved. And yeah, that's how the story goes.
Okay.
Great questions, Kana. I'm so glad to be actually handling a session for you guys because it's so exciting with such nice people, kids particularly in participating with slokams and answers, and you guys never fail to amaze not just me but all the other narrators too with your knowledge and everything. Keep this going, and we'll have more interesting topics come up in the future. Yes.
Will we continue with our Divya Prabandham and other slokams that mention Garutman, or are we just finishing with today's session?
If you want, we can get it. But my thing is, we need 1 hour's worth of
Can I
material.
do Garuda Dandagam? Like Garuda Dandagam one?
Do you guys want it?
Yeah, because I know Garuda Dandagam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'll try and sneak it in somehow. I'll try and put material together so we can cover an hour with prabandhams where there is reference to Garutman and also Garuda Dandakam and other stuff. Okay. Thank you very much, children. We'll wrap up with Acharya Taniyan. श्रीमत्वीरंगपृथ्वीश्वर हठरिपुणा सम्यमेन्द्रेण दृष्टं तस्थात्मानं नृसिंहे नरहरिहटजित् योगिनेतु प्रसादात् प्राज्ञं श्रीरंगकारी प्रभवयति पतेः प्राप्तलक्ष्मी नृसिंहास्थानं सेवे यतीन्द्रं सकलगुणनिधिं वीररघ्वीक्षथारिं श्रीरंगनाथ षडगोप यतीन्द्रदृष्टं लक्ष्मी नृसिंह षडजित् करुणैकपात्रं श्रीरंगवीररघुराज षडगोपकृत्यं वेदान्तदेशिक यतीन्द्रमहं प्रपद्ये श्रीमत्सङ्गषटारिसम्यविवराल्लब्धागमान्तद्वयं श्रीमद्वीररहुत्वहात्य षडजित्पादारविन्दाश्रयं श्रीमद्वेदवदं सदेशिकयतेः कारुण्यवीक्षास्पदं सेवे रङ्गधुरीणशासनवसं नारायणं योगिनं वेदान्तदेशिकयतीन्द्रकटाक्षलब्धत्रय्यन्तसारमनवद्यगुणं बुधाग्र्यं नारायणात्ययतिदुर्यकृपाभिषिक्तं श्रीरङ्गनाथयतिशेखरमाश्रयामः श्रीमते शिवञ्चरगोपश्रीवीरराघवषडगोपयतीन्द्रमहादेशिकाय नमः श्रीमते शिवञ्चरगोप श्री वेदांत देशिक यतीन्द्र महादेशिकाय नमः श्रीमते श्री लक्ष्मी सुमदिव्य पादुका सेवक शिवञ्चरगोप श्री नारायण यतीन्द्र महादेशिकाय नमः श्रीमते शिवञ्चरगोप श्री रंगनाथ यतीन्द्र महादेशिकाय नमः. Thank you, children. Keshavaya namaha.
Adiyan Keshavaya Namaha.
Adiyan Dan.
Keshavaya Namaha.
Keshavaya Namaha.
Keshavaya Namaha.
Keshavaya Namaha.